Good morning, everybody. Anything important happened lately? Anything in the news? Of course, we're going to talk about the convictions. Let's do this. Let's get into it. Fill your cups. Grab a pen and paper because this show is going to be a little different. We're going to do a roundtable. We're going to have a discussion about this. This is one of the most consequential historical things to happen in a very, very long time. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to make this show a discussion. Normally, I script things out and tell you what I want you to hear, and then we talk about that. We're going to do it a little different. We're going to talk about it as we go. Get your questions ready. Good morning, everybody. On a personal note, we're a community here. We are not just me talking out at the, screaming out at the universe. We are a group. We are a movement. We are a legion, if you will. And I care about you folks, really do. So I'm just going to tell you, folks. A couple of years ago. Yeah, I used to eat like a king. I did. I just ate anything I wanted, everything I wanted. And a few years back, I had an accident and I broke my back. And that completely changed my lifestyle. So I used to be go at it. I was a human bulldozer. And that all changed. But the way I ate didn't. So I packed on the pounds. I mean, I packed them on. I really did. It was to the point where I finally had a come to Jesus moment with myself about 2 years ago. And I'm not a diet person. I'm not. And this is what I want to talk to you about to begin with. Don't go on diets. Don't do that. Don't. Everybody reaches that point where you look at yourself and you say, this has got to change. And that's always the catalyst moment. And you have a lot of strong emotions at that point. And a lot of people make very drastic decisions. I actually had a very cold, sober moment. And I said, look, I not only have I physically changed because, like I said, I broke my back. And I never 100% recovered from that. But I had packed on a bunch of weight. So I was at that moment where I'm like, hey, I gotta do something. I gotta do something now. And I was having those strong emotional, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do the carb diet. This and that. And I slammed the brakes on. I said, you know what? No, you're not. And good friend of the show, Smalls, talks to me about, he's very much into fitness. As you can tell, the guy is a middle-aged man and in amazing shape. He talks to me all the time, and then he's like, dude, you can't do a diet. You just can't. They don't work. You're emotionally hyped up for it. So the first little bit they work, but when the emotions cool down, so does the discipline. And then you've set yourself up for failure because your body reacts to the diet. So I just made a sober decision that, you know what? I'm going to stop eating the way I eat. I'm not going to go on a diet. I'm not going to go on a carb diet. I'm not going to go in. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm just going to start eating like a human being instead of a vacuum cleaner. And I'm proud to say, long story short, too late. Yesterday was a trip to the doctor, and two things happened. One, I weighed in 70 pounds lighter since I started my journey. I have dropped 70 pounds. Yay me. And I'm going to drop it another 70 over the next year or two. Just taking my time, not dieting. I'm telling you folks, don't diet, don't do it. The other thing that I did was I had my second shingles shot. Get your shingles vaccinations. I am now 98% protected against shingles for the rest of my life. I never have to do that vaccination again. I am actually caught up on all my vaccinations. The shingle shot was the last one. Pneumonia, everything. So please, where I was going with this is this isn't just, me out here babbling over me and I'll pay attention to me. We're a community. Folks, take care of yourself. Pretty please. Take care of yourself. We've been there. We've all done struggle with weight. Don't diet. Just stop eating, cut yourself out. What I did to lose 70 pounds in 2 years, I don't stick food in my mouth. Of course, I fail sometimes. I do. I screw this up every once in a while. Don't worry about it. You just keep going. The way I did it was I don't stick food in my mouth after 7:00 at night. And I don't stick food in my mouth usually before 11. Every once in a while, Mrs. Texas Paul will make me a breakfast sandwich or something sort of treat like that. I'm not going to deny myself that, but it's not an everyday thing like I used to. And that's what I just wanted to share a couple of good announcements. Yay me, 70 pounds lighter, 70 pounds to go, and I'll be at my target weight. And I'm happy. I'm very happy. And I'm 100% vaccinated. 100%. I'm caught up on everything my doctors recommend for me. Meet with your doctors. They will tell you what vaccinations you need for your medical condition. Young folks, you probably don't need the pneumonia vaccination. Old guys like me, they recommend it. Talk to your doctors. Don't listen to nutballs on the internet. Anyways, enough of that. Enough of rant. Has anything big happened in the news? I can't even talk about it without smiling. I can't even talk about it without smiling. It is such a good day. It is such a good day. Yeah. Of course, we're going to talk about this. Of course, we're going to talk about this. Thanks for the support, Peter. I really appreciate allowing us to do this full time, allowing our community to exist. Yeah. In case you didn't hear, Trump was convicted on all 34 counts, all 34 felony counts. What I want to do is I want to have a discussion today about this, and I want to talk about the big picture, like we always do here, starting with how did we get here? And when we do it, I want your comments. I want to talk about what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and address those issues. Starting right now with Kenny Knackers. Yes, all 34 convicted on all 34 counts. This has been the general reaction. And when I say talk about the big picture, I want to talk about everything. Trolls online. Why do they exist? What are they doing? What is their purpose? Part of their major purpose is to try to give MAGA, which are horrible human beings, this feeling right here. Isn't that great? And that's everywhere. Those are real people. That's what trolls are trying to duplicate within social media, is they're trying to give the haters, the MAGA folks, that feeling. They're trying to recreate that feeling within them because it doesn't exist. There just really aren't enough of them. There aren't, we outnumber them greatly. This is not manufactured. This is real people reacting to this as it happens. And there are so many of us out there. Thanks for the support, Uncle Ross. I really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for keeping us going. So I've just got a very blunt question for you. How many of you, let's see the eggplants and the peaches, how many of you had conviction sex last night? I'm getting in trouble. Oh my God. Mrs. Texas Polish, don't you dare ask that question. Yes, I will. How many of you had conviction sex last night? Oh my God. Oh my God. That is too funny. That is too funny. Cool. It's like, yeah, I wish. Karusha, yeah. Me too. Me too. We just cuddled. We just cuddled and smiled at each other. Oh my God. Yeah. That's what the trolls are out there doing. Oh my God, Rob, you're hilarious. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take that comment down. This is a missionary accomplished. We are such a great community. I'm telling you, best community on anywhere on the internet. We are the Texas to you folks. To you folks. Amen. Craig says it should be made clear that a conviction is not punishment. Each one of these crimes that has been found he's been found guilty of comes with a possible 4-year prison term, which is almost certain he'll never see. Okay, let's talk about that. Like I said, this entire show is going to be a roundtable. Let's talk about jail time. Is he? You folks will direct the show today. We're going to talk about all the subjects. Trina Langer, good to see you. Good to see you. How let us know in the comment how Europe's feeling about this. Philip Alapour says, by the way, if you don't follow Philip on social media, Philip, post your social media. It's great information, really. He is one of the people that I actually follow on social media. I'm so proud that he's here in the show. Trollbots were attacking me when I announced Trump found guilty, saying pro-Trump stuff. I was attacked by yeah. We're going to talk about all of that today, all of it. But let's go back to the jail time conversation. I said on the show previously, I'm not that person that goes back and says, "Oh, I knew it. He was going to be convicted. I knew it. Never doubted it for a minute. I'm so smart." No, I told you the truth. 80-20. I was afraid there could have been a holdout. Could have happened, but it didn't. Thank God. Thank God. And when it comes to jail time, I told you folks, there's really no way to tell. Trump has been handled with kid gloves so much in so many ways. It's really difficult to tell what Judge Manchin will do. But I will say this. Trump has asked for jail time by his actions in every single way. He did not show contrition. I mean, let's be honest, folks. What got us here in the first place? He knew he was dead to rights guilty. Everything that they presented at that trial came from Donald Trump and Donald Trump's orbit. 100%. All of it. The witnesses, the documents, everything. Trump knew he was guilty. What he should have done was cut a deal. He should have cut a deal. Pled this down to misdemeanors, paid a fine. Wouldn't it have affected him with MAGA at all? But no, he forced the state to go to the expense and the trouble to actually convict him. Exactly, New Kid. Exactly. Thank you for the comment. What about the gag order he ignored? Still needs to account for that. Amen. This is where I'm going with this. He forced the courts to gag him. He attacked the judge. He attacked the system. When he was confused, you saw the statements he made when he walked out. I'm sick of hearing that dirty Queen's accent. I don't have a problem with a Queen's accent. There's something wrong with Donald Trump's accent. It's just I can't listen to the man talk. I don't know what it's a mishmash of. It's not even just, I know people from Queens. This is not a regular Queens accent. I'm not going to play the video, but you all heard the comments after he was convicted. There's no contrition. He's never accepted any responsibility. He is the poster child for jail time. He is. He is the poster child for jail time. And I'm going to stick my neck out there and I'm going to say 80-20, he gets jail time in the sentence. Now, I had a very, 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 very smart person. When this happened, I immediately started calling people. You know, after the joy of it subsided a little bit, and I was watching the news and watching the news coverage, I started calling friends that are in the know. You know, I don't just pull this stuff out of my butt, people. I have friends that are attorneys. I have friends that are special agents. I have friends that understand these things. And I wanted to get their takes on it. And one of the things that seemed to be a prevalent theme was, rather than prison, that Judge Manchin may go for house arrest. His confinement will be at home. Force him to stay in New York in his apartment rather than jail time. That is one option that I heard floated quite a bit, because everyone agrees. Everyone that has watched this, he is not a candidate. You've got people saying, "Oh, it's a white collar crime, and 80% of the people that commit this crime have had no jail time." Yada 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 yada. Yes, but that is not who Donald Trump is. He's not a person that said, "You caught me. You caught me. Okay, let's work out a plea deal. Let's do it. Let's work out a plea deal." So yeah, that is one thing. I personally, again, sticking my neck out there. I don't like to make predictions because, nobody's got a crystal ball. But I'm telling you, my read on this and my feeling on this is that mea culpa, thank you. I love you folks. I'm literally 2 sentences from bringing this point up. Thank you for being ahead of the conversation all the time, people. My read is that, he goes to jail. One of the special agent friends I was talking about says, look, man, prosecution wants jail time. They want jail time. They don't flip up in these investigations so that the boss, the guy that's responsible for it all, can get the lightest sentence. Michael Cohen did time over this. And at the top of my head, I don't remember how long he spent it. I don't remember. I'm having a brain lock. You folks are so well informed. I forget what was his sentence. I forget. But he did jail time over this. They did not flip up. They did not go to all the trouble to take down the boss, which they proved in the trial. He was the nexus of this. He was the man. He was the mob boss. He was the center of it. So yeah, I'm going to stick my neck out there and say 80-20. He does at least several months in jail. At least. Trina Long, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read that one. Can you pop that one back up for me? The conviction of Trump restores some confidence there is still justice to be had in the USA. Let's hope that there will be some prison time. Thank you, Mr. Nugent. As Nugent, as always, great comment. Thank you. They're watching this from Europe, folks. They're watching what we do. And folks, we this is something to be proud of. This is something to be proud of. We just established the fact that we believe no one is above the law. You know, Donald Trump's predominant statement today is if they can do it to me, they can do it to you. Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole point. There you go, 13 months plus 51 days in solitary confinement. That was another point that was actually brought up by my special agent friend, was that they actually believe that was some interference to force, they were trying to force Michael Cohen to sign an NDA and not talk about any of this, and that he was shoved into solitary confinement as a pressure point to try to get him to do what Trump wanted. So yeah, again, Trump is the poster child for someone that should and has earned going to jail. Laurier says, do you think he may be found guilty in other trials? Yes. Great segue for another point. Great segue. Yes, Menendez is definitely going to jail. This was a tactical error. The delay, because one, politically, this is it. That's it. He's done. Yeah, if he gets 1 month free charge, that would break my 34 months in jail. Yeah. But look, I lost track of my thought there. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to try to make it up. I had a thought there in that last left turn. Somebody remind me where I was at. I was talking about Michael Cohen and going to jail. And it was a segue into, damn it, lost my train of thought there. Yeah, amen, brother. Amen. Oh, future cases. Thank you. There you go, folks. There you go. The question was about, thanks, Alan. I appreciate you, my friend. You guys, I love doing this show with you guys. I really do. I really love this format, talking to you about. Yeah, this was a tactical error on his part. The delay of all the other trials. Now when he's convicted for the documents case, and he will be convicted there's nothing they can do about it. He's going to lose the election, and that trial will continue on. There is nothing anyone can do. Eileen Cannon cannot stop. I keep telling you folks, everybody, like, oh, Eileen Cannon, he's going to get off. He's not. He's not. She has just made it worse, because now he has a conviction on his record, and she will not be the judge to sentence him. She's not going to make it through this trial. She isn't. She's not going to make it through this trial. And I mean, there is so much to discuss about this. But I just want to remind you folks, as the response comes and the storm comes, this guy is all of us. This is where we're at. This is actual people out there. This was posted by Rachel Bitterkoffer. I'm going to have her back on the show, by the way. I've finished reading her book, and it was fantastic.
He's a villain! Lock that motherfucker up! He's a villain! Lock that motherfucker up!
And the New Yorker, they've got this is the New Yorker cover. This is the New Yorker cover, folks. I love this. This is great. This is freaking great. But yeah, I don't want to get lost in the weeds of the central point. I really don't. I really don't want to get lost in the weeds. Thanks for the support, Peter. I really appreciate you. You're one of our biggest patrons, and I'm super grateful. Wikipedia and the dictionaries will lead with, where do I start when it comes to Trump? Yeah. But that's why I wanted to do this in a roundtable fashion today. I really did. I want to discuss what's on your mind and what you're thinking. But as we do, I don't want to get lost in the weeds. This is a good thing for the country. I never lose sight of that. This is a good thing for the country. But they're trying to, they're not going to give up, folks. They're not going to give up. The right wingers aren't going to quit. They're not. I'm reading your comments as we go, so forgive me for looking down so much while we do this. Good job, New York. Good job. Which brings me to another point. You're hearing out of the right wingers, oh, well, it was New York. New York did this. That is not valid because it was New York. Really? That's like saying I can't get a trial in South Texas. Donald Trump lived virtually his entire life on that island. This doesn't get any more backyard. This doesn't get any more home crowd. Donald Trump literally came up on Manhattan. And right-wingers, the MAGA freaks are like, well, it's New York. He can't get it. Why? Why do you believe that the people who know him best, why do you believe that? The people that absolutely know him better than anyone, you think that they can't judge him fairly? That's insane. That's stupid. That's dumb. It's this was absolutely a jury of his peers. Thank you. Thank you. This wasn't, the other part of it to tie in with that, the other spin that they're coming up with. No, I haven't seen Putin's response to this. If you could put them in the comments, that'd be great. That'd be great. Do I think, Margaret, we're going to get to that. Keep that comment there. Thank you for the support and keep that comment. I don't want to lose track of what we're talking about here. Please stop for a second. Again, I just too many things being thrown at me at once. I'm losing track. This is incredibly, incredibly important that we understand this came out of his home turf. This is his backyard. These people know him better than anyone. They know him. Thanks for the support, Pathos. I really appreciate it. You guys, you are the patrons that make this happen. There's no way to argue that. That is literally like saying you can't get a fair trial in your hometown. It's illegitimate. That is the biggest load of crap. He was not convicted or charged or prosecuted by Joe Biden. This wasn't federal. This was a state case brought literally blocks from his home where he grew up. His marquee building, Trump Tower. So the argument that, oh, well, somehow this is Manhattan and he could, like Trump tried to say, well, I'm only polling 15%. They said, what does polling have to do with anything? This is a trial. He was charged by a grand jury of his peers. He was convicted by evidence that came out of his own organization, by witnesses that came out of his own organization, in this jurisdiction that he spent most of his life. There's nothing more legitimate than that. Period. There's no spin you can put on that. Republicans like to pretend that, oh, well, anything that's Democrat, it can't be trusted. That is their own projection. That is their own projection because you have Republicans like these folks right here. These folks right here. Trump's faithful are angry, but they believe he'll get even. For what? Being held accountable for crimes he actually committed? Really? And I want to draw your attention that wasn't the most important thing. We knew this was going to be their reaction. We knew it was. This is the local RNC, Colleen and Wally Ribble. Okay. They are in the Republican headquarters, which also doubles as a gift shop selling merchandise in support of former President Donald Trump. Yeah, that's why he's going to lose, folks. Always. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you for saying it. Always a grift. Always. He has turned the Republican Party, their headquarters are gift shops, not gift shops raising money for the Republican Party. They're gift shops putting money in Donald Trump's pocket, which leads us to the other headline that they're really trying to push. This was somehow a good thing that he got convicted. Another big point out there. There's somehow it was a good thing. Trump campaign announces $35 million fundraising haul after guilty verdict. Whoa, impressive. Impressive. It's bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit. I will bet you this hat, that didn't happen. You know how you know it didn't happen? There's no verification. It's literally just a statement that the Trump campaign put out with no verification. None whatsoever. And every corporate media outlet. How'd you know it was a Stetson? How'd you know? Every corporate media outlet has run with that because they're trying to figure out some way to spin this. Donald Trump gets convicted of 34 felony counts, and it's bad for Joe Biden because this. Folks, I want to knock that down right now. I want to knock that talking point down right now. I've showed you over and over again the Haley voters. After Haley left the race, she's still pulling 10 to up to 17, 18% of the vote. Those voters are people that could not walk into the voting booth as Republicans and say, I'm voting for Donald Trump. And Nikki Haley is not in the race. Do you think this conviction helped him with those people? Folks, no. This was just yet another nail in the coffin for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's goal, his way of getting reelected was he had to get every single person that voted for him last time to vote for him again, plus 7 million more. And it really doesn't shake out to exactly 7 million because you're talking about actual swing states and the minutia of it, but you get the point. He doesn't even have his old coalition. These aren't like we face every year, perennially, every election cycle. We Democrats have these folks that the corporate media pretends are in our stable, that for one reason or another, one subject or another, are threatening us with the fact that they're not going to vote for us. They have never voted for us. They have never been Democrats. And they're somehow blackmailing us saying, do exactly what we want or we're not going to vote for you again. Yeah. No. No. Those people were never counted on. We never counted on those people ever. But the Republicans have to have those Nikki Haley voters. Thanks for the support, Michael Andrews. I appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely. Just cause. And they don't. And this conviction makes it worse. Why we cannot be lazy, why we cannot get complacent over this. Because yes, this kills Trump. He was already dead. He was already DOA in this election. He didn't even have the coalition that he had last time. He was already DOA because of things like this. Reality is killing the Republican Party. Just so you know, you remember our guest we talked about? We had Elizabeth on the show talking about this case and her involvement in the case, Elizabeth Welder. The Texas Supreme Court just rejected their case. These are women that were harmed because they couldn't get the health care they needed. And the Texas Supreme Court said that there's no constitutional grounds for a woman to say, you're harming me with your law. You're denying me health care. Yeah, LB. See, I've said it over and over again. Forgive the language. People do not vote because they're happy. People do not vote to say thank you. People vote to say fuck you. And things like the Texas Supreme Court just rejecting these women's case. They didn't send it back to the legislature to say, hey, fix the law. You're hurting women. Your law is hurting women. You're literally forcing women to go into trauma. Fix that. No, they just said you have no constitutional grounds as a person to bring this case. You heard, ladies? How many of you does that motivate to vote? Roundtable discussion. This is not me talking to myself. I'm talking with you. How many of you does this motivate to vote? That is the political reality. If you get away, you're welcome, Michael Andrews. I appreciate you, McAndrews. I appreciate you. If you get away from the corporate media, which has to make this a horse race, they have to pretend this is a horse race because they've got ad money on the line. And I'm talking about billions of dollars in ad money. So they cannot tell you what I'm telling you. Donald Trump did not have the coalition that he had last election, much less added to it. And we Democrats, not only do we have our coalition, but we have Roe the Vote. We have a motivated, angry population that are going to show up that will, I will tell you this, for my daughters, for my children, if I got to the polling place and there was shattered glass surrounding it that was contaminated with Hep C, bloody Hep C, and someone put a gun to my head and said, you want to vote? You got to crawl. Ladies and gentlemen, I would crawl over broken Hep C contaminated fucking glass to vote in this next election. I have seen the 2025 project. I have seen it all. There's nothing that will keep me from voting in this next election. That is the reality. And then you put this trial into it. the corporate media is trying desperately to show the spin, to elevate the talk from Republicans that somehow this is a good thing. This just motivates us. This makes us mad and we're going to show up. No, it doesn't. Because 10 to 20% of you were already disgusted with Donald Trump. This doesn't help that. This makes people mad that we're already disgusting, horrible people. This isn't motivating them. They were in a cult already. I mean, you're talking about the Mike Lee voter here who is going out and publicly trying to undermine our system. We should be celebrating right now, folks. We are. We on the left are celebrating. Our institutions are strong. But here's Mike Lee, senator from Utah, telling folks, I don't respect this verdict, trying to undermine our judicial system. The part that's working. And I don't know. You tell me, folks. I want to hear your comment. I hear them say things like Donald Trump saying things over and over. If they can do it to me, they can do it to you. To me, that just seems like the stupidest, most asinine, backwards thing you could possibly say right there. The most politically unhelpful thing that you could say, because what I'm celebrating is, yeah, for the first time in a long time, I actually feel like there's some equal justice under the law. The whole point is, yeah, if they can do it to you, they can do it to you. Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Thanks for the support, guys. I really do appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. And what I love are the MAGA that are in tears. I do. I just love it. I just love it. The same people that said Hillary Clinton, y'all have seen what they've done. They love to dig into people's personal lives. They do. They love to dig into people's personal lives. That's why the Russians have a strategy. They do. That's the whole Hunter Biden thing it's a Russian op. They're the ones that got a hold of his laptop. And just that was the whole point of lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. There was no crime. Hillary Clinton committed no crime. They're angry because they really wanted to get into her personal email server really badly. Because that's what Republicans are. But they're like, oh, well, she got to go to jail because you didn't let me look at her personal emails. When there was no crime committed, they're like, well, she bleach bitted her server. Yeah, not a crime. Well, they destroyed their phones so we couldn't look at them. Right. There was no retainment order in place. That's what information security does. What do you think? They're going to send the phones down to Goodwill for the Russians to pick up? No. They crush those devices. They make them completely unusable, completely unsound. That's normal. No crime. You're just bitching because you couldn't get into her personal email. You were given everything work-related. But in this case, where you have Donald Trump, where the evidence was his checks, his communications, his communications involving the actual campaign, his employees engaging in illegal activity and going to jail, and it's illegitimate. It's illegitimate. Folks, these are bad people. These are bad people. They really are. And I got to tell you, there is some breaking news today that isn't this. And I absolutely love it. I do. This is a good thing. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate you keeping the lights on around here. I appreciate you, Charles. We got a bit of breaking news. As a result, Joe Manchin, who swore up and down he wasn't going to become an independent, has now gone down and registered as an independent. He is no longer a Democrat. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Really? That's your reaction? That's your reaction to a legitimate conviction. And again, you think that's a bad thing? He's not running for re-election. Folks in West Virginia, you got this turd, Jim Justice, the governor of West Virginia, is running for Joe Manchin's old Senate seat. They think this is going to be a pickup. You got this turd. System's a little slow. Hold on. That turd's running against Glenn Elliott. Glenn Elliott's the former mayor of Wheeling, West Virginia. Yeah, I think we got a shot on that one. I don't think we're going to lose that seat. I mean, it was never a strong seat to begin with because Joe Manchin sat in it, and he was never anything but a poison pill. So even technically on paper, if it were to flip red, what are we losing? It was Joe Manchin. It was Joe Manchin. But this is where I want to warn you folks why you can't be complacent. These convictions are death knell. They are a death knell. They are 100% a death knell to Donald Trump. They are. No doubt about it. In the gerrymandered districts in red states, this absolutely helps Republicans. It does. I mean, I want you to think about who MAGA are, what these people are. These are horrible people. These are lousy human beings. These are women celebrating what happened to these women. You should see they're horrific, folks. The posts that these people are putting online on the news that the Texas Supreme Court has said that women you just don't have any constitutional right to challenge this law. Instead of kicking it back and having the law fixed so that it wasn't cruel and hurting women, they just said, women, y'all just have no constitutional right. Y'all have no constitutional right to claim. There's nothing in the Constitution that says we can't hurt you. Do you think maybe we can get motivated enough to put real Democrat in that seat in West Virginia? I think we can. I think we can. I'll be honest with you. To land this plane about the narrative of what the corporate media is telling you versus what the reality on the ground is. Folks, this is our election. This is our election. We can change not just the United States and the future. We can end the Republican Party. We can improve the entire world. And so many races are exactly. North Carolina is in play. Colonel Clinks at North Carolina. Yeah, there are races, and we're going to do this in future shows. We're going to talk about specific elections. I am going to try to get Glenn Elliott to come on the show and talk to you about what's going on in West Virginia. I'm working with the Allred campaign to get Colin Allred on the show. We are going to destroy the Republican Party in this election. And I wish I could say it was our might and our skill and our that we're responsible for it all. I mean, kudos to Joe Biden and the Biden campaign and the Democratic establishment for the work that they've been doing. Speaker Jeffries has been doing amazing work. But yeah, the Republicans have gone a really long way to destroying themselves. But I want to leave you with this important point before we go just full on roundtable and talk about anything you want to talk about. Some folks get discouraged because they think it's a zero-sum game. They think something like this conviction. Well, of course, nobody could support Donald Trump after this, right? And then they see MAGA come out and support Donald Trump after this. And they get discouraged. They do. They get discouraged. Don't. It's never been a zero-sum game. Folks, after Nixon resigned in shame, there was a huge segment of the Republican Party that all you ever heard out of them when every single thing that happened for the rest of time, all they said was, well, if you hadn't done to Nixon what you did to Nixon, Nixon would have never let this happen. That's just politics. That's just people. That's just people. People that have branded themselves with MAGA, they're going to be there forever. They are. But remember, elections, blowouts are 5 points, 10 points, maybe. We're dominating the political landscape. We are. We really are. Everything, the wind is at our back. Don't let the fact that there will be, Putin can't quit. He has got to keep the troll farms operating. So your social media is going to be full of posts that aren't from human beings, that are trying to simulate that feeling that you got when you looked at that crowd in that bar of real people and real people having their real response. The trolls are not going to quit trying to make that feeling exist. Alyosha says, am I saying that right, Alyosha? Jim Jordan will demand Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo to appear for a hearing on June 13, 2024 to testify about the unprecedented political prosecution of President Trump. Good luck with that. Yeah, no kidding. They will. They're not going to quit. They can't. They just can't. By the way, we have a sentencing date, July 11th. We have a sentencing date for Trump. That's going to be lovely. That's going to be lovely. But yeah, let's move into the roundtable. We have some time left. Things that I haven't discussed, things that I haven't covered. Great comments. Great steering the conversation. I love you folks so much. I really do. You have no idea. I've got to read day and night to get the information I get. I do. And it's a grind, and it gets heavy on you just having these conversations. I hope you're uplifted by the folks in chat like I am. I hope this community lifts you up like it does me. Demetrius says, as I stated before, we must keep our eye on the prize. Wake up, America, vote, save our democracy, vote blue. Amen. You want to make that happen, You stay in people's ears. ET says the witch is not dead. MAGA is still a huge threat. They are still in other races all over. Exactly. And this will help down ballot races. It will help Republicans. We have a fight there. Lori Yates says, do you think MAGA will ever turn their backs on Trump? No, that was the point I just made. No, they will not. They will not. More and more people that were on the fringe of it will move away, and they don't have the coalition to win. They don't. More and more people will move away, but you have to stay in this fight because you've seen it. Folks, Chief Justice John Roberts just refused to sit down with Democrats over the Samuel Alito disgusting displays and his conflicts of interest. They're that confident. So let me tell you what we're working on. What you get after this election, if you do the work and if you put the victories in places that they didn't expect us to win, what do you get? This is from Tennessee Holler. He put this collage together. Another great follow online, folks. Tennessee Holler. Look them up. The Supreme Court. We are going to gut the Supreme Court. We cannot do it now going into this election. It would be politically stupid to do it now. We would lose supporters on our side because people would feel that are lay people that aren't involved, that don't pay attention, that don't know what has been involved, how corrupt the Supreme Court has gotten. This is going to take 2 years to make happen. And this is what we're going to do after the election. People say, pack the Supreme Court. I agree with you. There should be one justice for every circuit. There's no reason we don't have one justice for every circuit. But on top of that, we have this corruption that goes all the way into the Supreme Court. Deutsche Bank. And folks, I'm going to do an entire show on this. There's a reason that Olaf Scholz in Germany is so weak-teed when it comes to Putin. His government is also infiltrated with Russians. They are. We're going to break them apart. There has been so much corruption and so much money flooding into the Supreme Court. We're going to break them. We're going to gut this Supreme Court. That is the fight that we're going to have after the election. We're going to fix this. So yeah, get out and vote. Get out and vote. Make it happen. Keep the political wind blowing the right direction. That's your job. That's where you come into this equation, not just to come hang out with me and have a great conversation with each other and have the community that we have. Peter Campbell, that was a great comment. Please give thoughts on DNC convention in Chicago. I'm concerned about agent provocateurs attempting to have a visual repeat of the 1968 convention. Yeah, you're going to get the Gaza people are going to try to pretend. These are people that I'm telling you were never going to vote for us. They never do. Every single election, Google it, go back yourself. Every single election, you have these same people that have some different cause to say why the Democratic Party is bad and they're just not going to vote this time. Come on, join me. And it's crap. It's crap. It really is crap. Amen, Pamela Bloom. Bring a buddy to the polls. I tell you what is more telling, absolutely more telling. Joe Biden has not been convicted of a crime. He has not been accused of a crime. He has not been accused of trying to subvert democracy in any way, shape, or form. They didn't have a coup, none of that. Ohio just tried to pull him off the ballot. Ohio passed a law several years back, and it's stupid. Everybody ignores it. Ohio ignores it. They said they wanted to dictate to national politics and say all candidates must be certified as the candidate 90 days before the election. Well, nobody does that. Nobody's convention ever does that. So they always go through every election and they pass a dispensation, if you will, that says, okay, we didn't mean it. We didn't mean it. Well, this time, the hyper-partisans in Ohio said, oh, no, the Democratic convention doesn't occur. It's within that 90-day window. Joe Biden can't be on the ballot here in Ohio. They really did that. They really did that. So we Democrats are going to virtually nominate Joe Biden before the convention. So he will be on the ballot in Ohio. But Ohio Republicans look like the assholes they are. That all really just happened, folks. You're going to hear about a virtual convention. You're going to hear about the certification of Joe Biden before the convention. And it all comes out of this nonsense. Ohio has issued dispensations every election since passing that idiotic law. They do it for Republicans. They do it for Democrats. But this time they said, oh, no, we're going to keep Biden off the ballot. Mr. Newton says Supreme Court needs independent oversight. Just ban them from taking any kind of gifts and limit on it. That's what we're going to do, my friend. That's what I'm talking about. When I say we're going to gut the Supreme Court, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to actually pass legislation so it passes constitutional muster as under the checks and balances clause of the Constitution that says that these Supreme Court justices cannot do what Chief Justice Roberts is doing right now. His wife is making bank. I mean, well over, I think the last total was like $14 million she's made as a talent scout from law firms that are arguing cases before the Supreme Court, before her husband. You get these major law firms that say, oh, we'd really like to hire this person. Why don't you negotiate this for us and you be his talent scout and we'll pay you to do that. And by the way, our case is in 3 months. Yeah, that's really freaking happening. And there is not a law on the books that prevents it. Amen, Dan. Dan Marceau says, corrupt as hell. You bet your ass they are. It's not just trips. It's not just the billionaire frat boy clubs that are paying for these caravans and working with Putin. You know, we just had another story break. A former sheriff's deputy. You wonder where these right-wing turds, I was going to talk about it in the next show. I'll bring it up now. I'm going to do an in-depth on it on the next show if you want to hear about it. A former sheriff's deputy who is just a MAGA freak has moved to Russia. And they have tied an overwhelming majority of the literal fake news. I mean, these are fake websites. You ever hear like MAGA come to you and they say something so incredibly asinine? Just, where did you hear that nonsense? That's just stupidity. And they're like, oh, really? I saw it. It's in the news. Really? You pay attention. Did my research. It's this freaking sheriff's deputy, former sheriff's deputy, moved to Russia. He's a freaking traitor. He's a Putin lover, has opened dozens of fake websites that mimic news websites. They look like if you went to CNN.com and opened CNN, you know, they mimic legitimate websites, as legitimate as the corporate media can be. And that's where these idiotic, bigoted, disgusting, no character having maggots are getting their confirmation from. Everything fantasy that they want to make up in their head. I'm going to do it. You got Laura, you got to wait for the next show. You got to wait for the next show. I've got his picture. I've got his name. I've got his history, all of it. That's in the next show. But just a little teaser, a little soupçon. But yeah, that's really happening, folks. So don't be discouraged. Please enjoy. Enjoy, my friend. If you haven't had your conviction sex yet, go get it. Go get it. July 11th is a sentencing date. And again, just to recap, none of this had to happen. None of it. Donald Trump could have pled out and walked away. He could have. He could still call up Alvin Bragg today and say, don't ask for jail time. Let's make a deal. I'll get out of politics and I'll stop doing business in New York. And they would cut a deal to take to Judge Manchin and say, okay, just fine him. They would do that deal. But he won't, because he's got the RNC. His daughter-in-law is running the RNC. They're literally sucking the money out of the arteries like vampires out of the Republican institution. They have their gift shops and RNC headquarters in the same room. And these MAGA trash, these bigots that go online and want to hear these stories, these made up stories about lies on the border and how it's some guy walking through the desert in a backpack that's supplying all the fentanyl. Yeah. Folks, we've got a real opportunity on our hands. We've got a real opportunity on our hands. They lash themselves to the SS Trump, send them down to the bottom with it. Well, that's what I've got for you today, folks. And I really appreciate the discussion. I appreciate the back and forth. I appreciate you guiding the conversation. I love you, folks. Really, I mean it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Just soak it in. This is for the first time in a long time. I don't know about you. Steve, I love you, Steve. You're hilarious, man. My wife isn't home. She might have issues. We having convictions. Yeah. Wait till your wife gets home, dude. Wait till your wife gets home. But yeah, man, feed your souls. Enjoy this. This is a good thing. No, the Republicans aren't going to give up, but that's a fight for tomorrow. Enjoy today. I love you, folks. This is Old Texas Paul out. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.